What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with a brand new video for Summoners War. Today, we're going to be talking about the number one reason why my Conquer 2 rank in RTA has not changed in the past 3 weeks, despite the fact of all the knowledge that I learned. And that reason is Rune prioritization. So, in today's video, we're going to be taking some of the tips that we took on from Juan, the last Educate and Dominate. If you didn't get a chance to see that, I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description down below. But the key point there, and basically it was the point that I used at the beginning of the video, right? The intro was essentially take a look at your monster box in whole and figure out, what can you truly do with that lineup of units and runes, and basically make the best of what you got. Prioritize the best runes on those units that revolve around the RTA if that is your focus here. So this is going to be the first time in Free Rune Removal that we're going to be putting an emphasis on RTA. And funny enough, there's not going to be a whole lot of changes per se, given the fact that a lot of my units are already rune relatively well. But obviously there's a little bit of speed tuning, a little bit of adjustments that'll need to be made in order to do so. Now, what you see up top here, we got the Summoners War Optimizer and we got the Swar Farm. Now, Summoners War Optimizer is an amazing tool to go ahead and essentially take a look at some of those units and runes and essentially min-max so that you can get the highest quality unit possible, right? I'm not going to go into detail how to get this all set up. There's tons of video out there that you can go ahead and search on that, but I just say that I'll just say it right now. If you're not using this tool, there's nothing, no shame about it, but it's just helped me flat out. It's made my life so much easier, okay? Now, after we take the data that we've gotten here and we've made all the adjustments and make the changes on the units, I will essentially export that and put it on my Swar Farm. So this is a way for you guys to check out via this website, swarfarm.com profile ChildishPlays. This is a way for you guys to check out all my units and runes on the fly here. So this is the data that I have here is also embedded into my Twitch. So you guys can type in !monster space the name of the monster, and if I have it, it will showcase the runes and give you a link so that it'll pull you over to the Swar Farm page. So if you're ever curious about a unit, you can take a look at that. Again, as far as using this tool, it's a really unique website here. Not too hard to set up. So again, there's a lot of information online or in Reddit if you guys want to check it out. We're not going to get into that into the video because it's going to take forever, okay? But let's go ahead and get into the main topic of the video here, rune prioritization. What things that we need to do in order to make the best of our future, weeks on end here now with RTA. So when it comes to some of the changes that I make in Free Removal, my number one thing is how can I improve my units, or how can I make the changes on my units without crippling the foundations, my core teams essentially here, right? So if I have a unit, let's say like Chandra, okay, Chandra, we're not going to obviously do that here, but let's say if Chandra was the end-all be-all unit, let's say Chandra was my Molong, right? And he was the end-all be-all unit that we need to make in order for us to excel in RTA, right? It would really make it would really make a good emphasis to do it. But if we're in the situation I am, which I'm really behind on my rune quality, I need to improve it. I still need to make sure that I have a certain amount of teams or a certain amount of units on said teams in order to get the runes that I need. The twins allow me to consolidate my Necropolis and Dungeon B10 team from 10 units basically down to 7, right? Galleon was already a unit that I was using at GB10. That's not a big deal. We already had runes on it. But when it comes to like the extra units that we were using on the violent runes, we were using Tark, we were using Stella. For Necropolis V10, we were using Rigel. And we were using what was the other one that we used? Oh, we were using Shiwa. I was able to take the violent runes off of those 4 sets, right? Those 2 units from DB10, those 2 units for Necropolis V10. We're able to take those off, make the best of what we can with Sabrina and Shayna, and then we had essentially an extra 2 to 3 sets of runes available to improve some of the RTA units that we need to, right? And again, we made a couple of changes on those teams, and after that was said and done, we basically like try to improve the units a little bit here and there, but the emphasis was to improve it. But we were looking at Guild Wars, we were looking at Siege. Now we're going to try to push it to RTA, and it shouldn't be too hard of a change because we are a lot of our units are already runed as good as they can, as efficient as they can, but we need to make some changes here. So what I did was, instead of looking at like Swar Farm, all day, I made a little list of some of the things. This is kind of what I make. I make like a prioritization list, some of the basic, things that I'm looking for, trying to break down my monster box, get an idea of where my units are at, where my speeds are currently at, and take a look at it overall and seeing what I can do to incorporate some solid teams for RTA. Okay, so here's the information right here. You can see that we have these are the main units that I use for RTA. Some of them obviously more often than others, but these are the main units that not only is used for RTA, but all my PvP. Like these are my probably my strongest Rune units. Okay, now again, there's a lot of information that we're kind of leaving out here. I'm just getting I'm just putting in a little bit of detail just so I can try to get a feel for what needs to be changed. Okay, so after I lay out all the information here, as far as everything, direct damage, attack bar boosted, whatnot here, here's some of the issues that come here. No, yes, general strategy. You guys already know this, but if you guys have seen me oh, nice. If you guys see me in RTA, you know that 90% of the time it's either double immunity plus a mixture of units, depending on what they lay out, or Vanessa Triana death prevention, because I'm dealing with some crazy burst damage, the Molongs, the Pernas, and whatnot. It's just a pain. So, having that death prevention really works well. And those, units obviously are super meta. So, after taking a look, laying out the units that I have, and taking a look at my monster box in whole, here's some of the things that I noticed flat out, right? If you take a look here, a lot of my support base units are in the vicinity of, the 220 to 230, whereas my damage dealers are all, they're pretty lazy, right? Their speed's like really low. Outside of Leica getting recently changed, he was probably around 168. The majority of my units were in the vicinity of like 170 to 180 or 190 here. Outside of Garo, which Garo, of course, he's in there, but he wasn't really used all too much here. But he's an option for RTA, right? So one of the biggest issues we have is if we're trying to speed tune, all of our DPS essentially, all of our DPS units, they're not synergized well, they're not speed tuned well. So I have a lot of units getting to turns and then having specific gaps where the opponent can cut in and do whatever they need to do, right? When it comes to crowd control, I'm actually really happy with my account. I got a lot of really good options here for hard CC, but unfortunately, when it comes to the strippers, I'm limited to Chiwu, I'm limited to Chilling, Gemini. AoE strippers, it's really low. My single target DD, right, if you guys see here, if you look at my burst damage here, all of it, literally all of it here, is all based on passives, right? So here's the thing that we got to think about, right? If we're all based on passive, then we're in trouble if they lay out the Tessarion. But what if we say, let's flip it. Let's say we want to incorporate Tessarion in our team so that they can't, pick something to counter it. Yeah, that would work out good. But if we're using Tessarion for that specific slot, not only do we have to have him relatively tanky so that he could be the support and take advantage of all the units that are bringing passives that I'm going up against. Pernas is probably the biggest one that I have to deal with. Pernas, Trianas, for sure. Not only do we have to deal with that, but how could we, set it up so that we can provide a little bit of damage, or at least provide a little bit of ways for him to scale well over time here. So that's what I got going on right here. As far as some of the changes here, priority high to low, this is obviously going to be changed here, but here's some of the things that I'm looking at here. If I'm going to be using Tessarion more often than not, and Vanessa more often than not, for both of these guys having the defense breaks, the important speed leads, the death prevention, Tessarion with the resistance lead, the Oblivion. I mean, these two, for me, need to be a super big priority coming into free removal, okay? That's what I'm looking to do anyways. This is what I do, analyze for my setup here, okay? Outside of the speed tuning. You guys already know that we gotta improve a lot of the speed tuning here, all right? The next thing here is, out of the units that you all see, the water-based units, obviously there's a lot of units out there, fire-based units that I have to deal with. But as far as even water-based multi-hitters, outside of Theo, who doesn't have will, I don't have a lot of not too many options there that again don't have the passive here. So I'm looking to see if I can improve one unit here. Chao, Camilla, or Miyang. I leaned more towards Camilla, given the fact that I deal with a lot of CC. So if these these guys scaling, if they're setting up their units to they're support-based units, but if they crit on a Camilla per se, the Son of the Freeze gets thrown away, and so it might give me some more opportunities similar to Mihao Wang in order to not get controlled and be able to do some damage here. Chow, I think, is going to scale better over time. But again, outside of what Chow provides for himself, there's not too much he can provide to the rest of the team. And so another one of the units, kind of given what I just said about Chow, another one of the units that I'm looking at here is Mi Yang. And so Mi Yang, I don't think she's an underrated unit. I feel like a lot of people have super strong meta units that that kind of pushes Mi Yang on the side, unless you really need her. But she's kind of similar to Annabelle, where she's like the jack of all trades. She's super good at a lot of things, or good at a lot of things, but not like super strong in other things. However, and this is something that we say all the time when it comes to the free or units and whatnot. Yes, maybe there is like a unit per se that like does a lot of things, and maybe it's not the great at everything. But if we get back to the stem of the video, right, the fact that we're trying to incorporate here, the Rune prioritization, if we say that she provides all these little things about her kit that adds a lot of value to the RTA team, fail, don't even know why that's not what up, but the main RTA team that we're using, then that should give us reason to make her a priority, because again, she has the cleanse, like for the stun, she has the beneficial effects improver. So if I put them in a situation where they don't ban my immunity, and they leave me like a Wusar, better whatnot, that's gonna provide a little bit more value. I'm limited in my in my non like strippers, right? We got Shiwu, we got Iris, we got Shiwu, we got Gemini. But outside of that, Iris, Ethna, and Chilling are my main units here. So if I was looking for another stripper, that wants to, another single target stripper, so I can focus on one unit, then Mi Yang can also help me out there. Obviously, she is her heal scales off attack power, so over time her heal is going to be really, really nice. And her second skill is based on speed, right? So you're already building her in a fast manner, so that it's gonna be easy for me to speed tune her with the rest of the units. With regards to Beta and Triana, I have a couple of units. Like right now, I want to improve, but the fact of the matter is that when it comes to immunity, especially for a unit like Triana with a one-turn immunity, I want to get a lot of value out of it. So if I have Triana super fast, she wastes her immunity, then everybody else goes. There's no value in it, so I need to consider making some adjustments on my units so that I can speed tune it here. So again, now I do want to give a shout out to Make It a Butt. If you guys didn't get a chance to see his video with Iron Grown, he made an interesting comment in the video with regards to ticks and talking about speed tuning synergy and so on and so forth. So if you guys didn't get a chance to check it out here, he was talking about the ticks when it comes to a measurement of speed in the game of Summoners War, right? So essentially one tick is basically increasing the attack bar by 7% times your speed. So there's a certain amount of ticks for each monster depending on the speed that will get them to that 100% attack bar. And then once you hit that 100% attack bar, the unit with the highest attack bar, the highest ATB will go first, right? So this makes a whole lot of sense when you're looking at free removal, because sure, you can make the adjustments on specific units to be this speed and that speed or whatever. But if we're talking about ticks and truly making sure that you got all your units like perfectly speed tuned, and you cannot get them to the 220 or 234, whatever the case, whatever that next range of ticks is that you're looking to hit, that next criteria there, then maybe that may make an argument for making the adjustment so that you can bring everybody down one notch and get them speed to here. So my goal right now is, as I'm taking a look at that right now, I'm taking a look at the 200 range, like 205 range for most of my damage dealers. And I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take a look at that range and see what I can make do. Obviously, it'll really depend on the Rune prioritization and possibly making some adjustments to improve some of the units I'm gonna be using more often than not. But it's something to think about if you are really trying to get like to the nitty gritty on that here. So, but yeah, those are some of the big things that I want to go in here, guys. Again, these are just this is just a handful of things that I collected, just through my thought process here. There's obviously a lot more things that I need to write down, I need to adjust, but I just want to get down to what this really calls for here when it comes to free removal. And this is something that I've said so many times here. If you are scraping up right now to make, you know, all the adjustments, or you're really not sure what you're doing for free removal. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to approve a couple units or whatever, whatnot. Let's see what happens, right? Then I think that's going to be, if you're trying to make an effort into approving it, I don't think that's the best way to go. I think that whatever day free removal lands on, depending on what your schedule is, I don't know how busy your life is with a family, whatnot, you need to be making the adjustment 2 days, 3 days, or even a week in advance, trying to figure out what is the game plan, what do you want to change and why. If you're somebody that is not a whale and cannot change units on the fly, you have to take full advantage of the free removal and make the changes as you see fit here. So that's what I wanted to do today. I just want to talk about, you know, essentially taking what Hua said, trying to lay out my units in whole, seeing what I got, seeing what I can capitalize on, seeing what my weaknesses are, and given all that information, which units should I really invest in for RTA in order to make those changes. Now, could this have an impact in Guild Wars or Siege? Sure, probably. But if you look at some of my units that are involved in RTA, like I said, the efficiency on some of these units is actually, for my runes, it's actually pretty good. So it's like I can make adjustments for RTA, but they will still work well in Guild Wars or Siege because they're just the rune quality or the synergy is still still in a good manner, right? It's going to do well with that. So that's what I want to throw out there. Obviously, make some of the changes, consolidate those runes, prioritize your units with whatever you're doing, and hopefully you guys can make some necessary adjustments in order to enjoy the game that much more. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave you there. If you have any questions about anything that I just said, leave it in the comment section down below. If you like this style of video, if you like me doing more free removal talk or more account optimization talk, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I'm totally down for doing more of these videos. I will say this though, despite the fact that I have been playing this game for 4 years, I'm still constantly learning this game inside and out here, trying to improve my knowledge so I can thereby teach that, you know, provide that knowledge for you. Funny enough, we're going to have a future video coming out in RTA. I'm not even going to drop the name just yet because it basically, I'm doing something that no RTA player really does before, and so or RTA content creator, right, really does. And so I have a blast with it. It's kind of a fun game that we do on stream, and so I hope you guys enjoy that too. Okay, that's gonna be it, guys. If you guys stayed for the length of the video, thank you. You made it. You can now go to bed, take some rest. It's much needed because you got a long day coming ahead of you. Okay, that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Childish Plays checking out. Take care, and I will see you guys on Free Removal Day. I'm out.